An elderly man fakes his own death to see just who would show up at his funeral. Customers sue a sneaker company over shoes they claim are too squeaky. And police are flooded with volunteers to smoke marijuana for impairment training. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast. It's recorded inside a closet. One guy, solo guy in a closet. I tell some jokes, probably do some singing. An elderly man staged his own death just to see who would show up at his funeral. This guy's a retired Indian Air Force veteran, and he is going viral after he pulled a prank on his loved ones by faking his own death just to see who would show up at his funeral and weep. I want to see who will weep for me. Will you weep for me? You will weep for me. Who's weeping the most for me? This guy sounds like a major egomaniac. 74-year-old Mohan Lal is his name. He's made headlines for the dramatic way that he, quote, rose from the dead in a very shocking stunt to see how many people would mourn him. About a week ago, Lal's friends and family, along with other residents of his town in the Kanchi village in the Gaya district of India, gathered together for a funeral procession in his honor. His body was enveloped in a white shroud and placed on a bamboo stretcher decorated with lovely flowers, which were carried by pallbearers up to a temple where his last rites would be performed and his body would be cremated, as is typical in India. Amid chants from the mourning attendees and emotional music playing in the background, Mohan Lal suddenly stood up from the stretcher, clearly alive and well. The shock. The incident, it says, shocked the entire country. It shocked the whole country. Wow, did the whole country show up to his funeral? This guy's pretty popular, this Mohan Lal. The shocks is now spreading around the world, it says, not for his return from the dead, but for the reason why he was never deceased in the first place. 74-year-old Mohan Lal pretended to be dead until his own funeral pyre was lit, just to see how many people would actually mourn him. After his stunt, he explained he wanted to see how many people would mourn him if he actually died, how many people cared. Here's his quote. After death, people carry the bier, but I wanted to witness it myself and know how much respect and affection people give to me. Wow, talk about a narcissism, and one would argue a piece of crap to pull that stunt on your loved ones. It's not very nice. Just for your own ego? Boy. 74 years old, he's still doing this. I mean, I've had ego my whole life, you know. It's made me want to get up on stage. Give me attention. Listen to my ideas. It's partly why I got on a podcast, you know, but I would hope that at 74 years old, I'm not still like, look at me. Look at me. Come on. I'm so important. Love me. Oh, won't you just love me? I mean, I hope I'm over it at that point. 74. I would imagine once I hit 70, I'm not going to care what I look like. I'm like going to be the guy that leaves the house in pajamas with drool on my shirt. I'm not going to care what people think of me when I'm out in public. I'm going to say horrible things to people. I'm going to tell the hostess that she's got a nice chest and not care if I get arrested. That's just how I think I'll be like that in my 70s. I'm probably not going to be getting on stage anymore. And I probably won't be doing this podcast because who cares at that point? I'm not going to care. But 74-year-old Mohan Lal cares. To complete the ceremony for him, attendees burned an effigy in his place at the temple and later shared in a big feast. Well, I hope you paid for that feast, you jerk. You made all these people go to the mountain for no reason. Now, despite the ridiculous incident, Lal is well loved by his community, having used his own funds to make life better for those around him. For example, the veteran recently funded a, quote, well-equipped crematorium in his village after seeing mourners struggle with cremating their loved ones during the seasonal rains. One more quote from Lal. He says, after retirement, I have been engaged in social work and working for the welfare of people till my last breath. Well, you've also had enough energy to pull pranks. So just bring it down a notch, Lal. Just take it down a notch. You know what's a great way to have nobody show up at your real funeral? Is have a fake false funeral to trick everybody. Silly man.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Customers are suing a sneaker company because the shoes cause noisy and embarrassing squeaks when they walk in them. Customers of the athletic shoe company On have recently filed a class action lawsuit alleging that the brand's sneakers squeak really loud when they walk. Yeah, some sneakers do that. I've had pairs that have squeaked embarrassingly loud when I walked over the years. I never thought I could get paid for that. I've even had leather pants that made some noises. I went as Jim Morrison for Halloween, and I had this pair of leather pants that made fart noises, and maybe I could have gotten some money out of that. I wasn't aware at the time. I normally don't wear leather pants, but it was a special occasion. Now, let me jump into the lawsuit here. Maybe some of you wear these sneakers and you can get involved. You can jump right on the lawsuit, and then you can get your settlement check for, how these class action lawsuits, they pay out big checks. You could get upwards of $4.50. All right. So the class action suit was filed in Portland, Oregon, where the company's headquarters is located, and it targets On's sneakers made with the, quote, Cloud Tech technology. So if you have some sneakers made by On that has Cloud Tech technology, you could win upwards of $6.10. So a hallmark of many of the brand's styles, Cloud Tech is composed of differently shaped holes that cover the external and bottom surfaces of the sneakers, according to the lawsuit. So I guess I'm describing the sneakers to you. Do you give a damn? Probably not. That's not what's weird. What's weird is you can get paid for your sneakers being too loud. I never knew this my whole life. What about getting paid if the sneakers smell too early on in their lifespan? Some sneakers just hold scent like no other. They just right away start stinking. I should get paid for that. Some kind of compensation. Maybe like upwards of $7.20. That'd be sweet. Now, in this particular class action lawsuit, apparently 11 of the On's sneaker styles are referenced, including the Cloud 5, the Cloud 6, the Cloud Monster, and the Cloud Runner. Oh, they really like to run with this whole run with this whole cloud theme. Oh, it's like you're walking on clouds. Is that their whole angle? I've never heard of this shoe company, On. Is this for people with gout? Because if you have gout, you really want some sneakers that feel like you're walking on a cloud. But not that squeak, all right? Can't have that noise. You don't want to walk up to your friends and have them go, oh my goodness, is there an NBA game approaching us? Oh no, it's just Jerry in his cloud stretchers. Oh, here comes Jerry in his gout 3000s. That was my impression of some squeaky sneakers on a hardwood floor. How was that? Pretty good? Where else are you going to get a podcast host doing an impression of squeaky sneakers on a hardwood floor? I think it's pretty good. And if it's not, this podcast is free anyway, so you know what you can do with it. Now, in case you're wondering, the company On that makes all these cloudy gout footwear, they said that they're not going to comment on any ongoing legal matters. According to the lawsuit, Cloud Tech was created to, quote, provide cushion support when wearers land. When they land? When they land from what? Could you be more specific? Like, are these shoes for playing basketball or are they for breaking and entering? Okay, they were created to provide cushion support. They look very cushiony. They sure do. But they also look like they could be very noisy. According to the plaintiffs, the technology rubs together when wearers walk or run, causing a noisy and embarrassing squeak with each and every step. The lawsuit, however, admits that while the squeaky shoes are seemingly inconsequential, the company has allegedly refused to provide any refunds to those who are unhappy with the sneakers and request for a refund, leaving customers with no relief after buying the $200 shoes they can no longer wear without their doing significant DIY modification to the shoe to reduce the squeaky sounds. So the company's not accepting refunds of the overly squeaky shoes is what's going on, and they're not pleased with it. And as such, yeah, I mean, you're left with no other choice but to have a class action lawsuit. It is a weird thing, though, imagine being the judge that's handling this, and you got to sit all day long, 8 hours listening to reports of squeaky footwear. Oh, my goodness. I'd want to shoot myself right there with the gavel. Well, you can't shoot a gavel, but I would just take the gavel and start smashing my head in right there after the 20th customer was cross-examined on the witness stand. So tell me some instances of where your footwear was making some embarrassingly loud squeaks. Oh, yeah. Well, there was this one time, right, I was in an AA meeting, and I walked up to talk a little. I've been in AA for about 8 years, coming up on 8 years, been sober, and my approach to the place where you speak was it was squeaky, and my sneakers elicited some very, very embarrassingly loud squeaking noises. I was very ashamed of it, and I just went, where's my gun? Where's my gun? I just want to shoot myself in the face. Do I have to listen to this? Do we have to listen to this for 3 weeks? Is that how long we have to listen to this? I mean, my whole point is how do you sit through this in the courtroom? I mean, how do you be a juror? Oh, kill me. No reasonable consumer would purchase defendants' shoes or pay as much for them as they did, knowing that each step creates an audible and noticeable squeak. See Exhibit B. Actually, let's listen to Exhibit B. Just hours of listening to squeaks. Now let's listen to Exhibit D, the Puffy Cloud version. Would you say that was a loud squeak? Like if you 1 to 10, would you say that where would that be on the loud meter? I would say that's an 11 on the loud scale. I'll have you know, Your Honor, that nurses and those who are on their feet all day bear the brunt of this squeaky defect. Not to mention pickleballers that play, indoors. Indoor pickleballers have been subjected to this noise, very deafening noise. And this causes grief in our consumers' daily lives. Wouldn't you say? And then the judge stands up and says, let's call a recess and we'll get to this after lunch. And then as the judge walks away, in other words, the judge's shoes are squeaky. Guys, you get where I'm going? I'm trying to paint a scene here. It's not SNL, but, it's one guy in a closet. What do you expect? Now, the lawsuit alleges that the company On can make better products to avoid squeakiness, but On has done nothing to remedy the squeaky issue. Plaintiffs have suffered an ascertainable loss due to fraudulent business practices and deceptive marketing schemes and are seeking compensatory, statutory, and punitive. I would like some punitive damages as well as refunds on their squeaky ass sneakers. You know what the company should do? They should just rebrand them Squeakers instead of sneakers. Squeakers! Problem solved. You can't sue us now. We call them squeakers. What do you guys think, you smart people, you smart listeners? My listeners are smarter than me. What do you think? Is this a frivolous lawsuit, or should they be compensated upwards of $8.23?
When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
The police are flooded with volunteers to smoke marijuana for their impairment training. The Ocean City Police Department says they're overwhelmed by the number of volunteers that are extremely eager and excited to smoke some cannabis for an upcoming training event that's aimed at helping the police officers recognize signs of impairment, a.k.a. recognize stoners and stoner activity. Well, that's easy. You just look for the ones that are driving 25 miles an hour under the speed limit. Very careful driving goes on when you're high, I've noticed. Nonetheless, police are looking for other signs of impairment, such as the munchies, and, talking about do aliens exist? That's how you know. You just that should be the field sobriety test for being stoned. Just bring the driver to the back of the car and be like, hey, so tell me about chemtrails. And if they just go off on chemtrails, they're super high right now. All right, how's this going to work? So the police department in Ocean City, this is in Maryland, by the way, they posted a call for participants on social media Tuesday afternoon looking for about a dozen adults aged 21 over. Surprisingly, within hours, or not surprisingly, they had more than enough signups, and they had to close the registration right away. They had so many people. Careful, guys, this could be a setup. Could be a trap. Oh, this is the picture. This is a picture of a huge bud, and then it says volunteers needed right above it. Hilarious. This sounds like a fun way to spend an afternoon. Is this happening in my area? Because I'll tell you right now, I'm reporting for duty, officers. I want to help you guys out. Now, I got some more questions about the details of this event. It's part of the Maryland Highway Safety Office's annual DUI conference, which will be held on Sunday, October 26th from noon to 4. Ocean City Police are partnering with Cannabis Green Lab to host the session in a controlled educational setting. Oh, right, educational, right, sure, man. Well, I'm here for educational purposes, bro. Yeah, let's educate some people. I'm ready to educate. Hey, I'm about to hit this and educate people, right. Now, it says here it's an annual DUI conference, which means they do this every year, and I assume they also get you drunk for free. Which day do you get to have free drinks? I'll participate in both days. For educational purposes, guys. Can you bring some friends to these events? I got some questions. The program, it says, allows officers to observe real-time marijuana impairment while participants consume the cannabis they bring themselves. Wait a minute, we got to bring our own cannabis? That's not how it has to go down. I'm so sorry. I don't think you know how these things work. How did you get so many volunteers? They must have assumed that it was provided. I mean, why would you not offer it? You partnered with the Cannabis Green Lab to host the session, but you're still making people just... Cannabis Green Lab should provide the weed, and people just bring themselves. Wow, this is not a good deal. You're going to help out the pork patrol, and no one even gives you free weed? I don't understand that at all. It says lunch and shuttle transportation only will be provided. Yeah, well, I would hope some snacks, something. These people are getting high, and then they need a ride afterward. Otherwise, you're going to arrest them for driving themselves. Organizers say 40 student officers will be participating and added it's a great way to train the next generation of law enforcement safely and responsibly. But you know what? Screw this event, man. You don't even provide free cannabis to your subjects, and you're trying to gather information on how to bust them when they're high. And by the way, I mean, a whole task force for busting people when they're stoned. Like we really need that in our culture. What are people doing when they're high on marijuana? Anything that needs to be monitored? It's like, keep an eye on that guy. He's extremely high, and he might build a website. I mean, this is ridiculous. The subjects have to bring their own marijuana. Who would even do this if you have to bring your own stash? That's a waste of your stash, getting high in front of the police. You got to get something out of it, because getting high in front of the police is not a reward in itself. I'm so sorry to tell you. It's a very, very nerve-wracking situation. That's not the stimulus I want when I'm high off my ass. But if you're going to give me free drugs, yeah, I'll do it. When's the cocaine impairment training happening? I'll be there with bells on.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
Hey-o, what's up, my friends? How you doing? This is Jonesy, the host of Weird AF News. You already know that, probably. But I want to thank you for spending some time with me in this episode. Today is Wednesday. I got a show tonight in downtown LA. If you happen to be around, just hit me up on the Instagram at FunnyJones. I'll put you on the guest list. I got a message from someone on Instagram. James Little wrote, "Hey Jonesy, fun fact, did you know that the series Black Mirror is still active? If you have Netflix, you might want to check out their latest season. Also, there's an interesting place called Ilha da Queimada Grande, also known as Snake Island, located off the coast of Brazil. This island is home to thousands of highly venomous golden lancehead vipers. Because of the associated dangers, the Brazilian government has prohibited public access, allowing only authorized researchers and military personnel to visit under strict safety protocols." Isn't that fascinating? I love when my listeners educate me about some of the weird stuff around the world that I had never heard of until now. Super cool. Thank you, James Little. Also, coincidentally, another James reached out to me, James McNamara, on Instagram and wrote, "Hey, Jonesy, thanks for the laughs. My son and I listen on our commute to his doctor appointments. A great escape from reality. Thank you." Well, I appreciate that, James, you and your son. Shout out to James McNamara and the McNamara fam for listening to Weird AF News on the way to the doctor. You should listen to it on the way from the doctor, too, because doctor's appointments can be depressing. You want to cheer yourself up afterward as well. Also, another message on Instagram from Ray Miller, who writes, "Hi, Jonesy. My name's Ray. I'm 14 years old, and my mom listens to you every morning. She thinks you're hilarious. So do I. I just heard you the other day saying you like when people reach out, so I came to say hello. I hope you have an amazing day today. Listening to you right now, Cat Island is 100 times better than Dog Island. Haha. All right. Ray's a fan of cats. All right. I still think Dog Island's much better, Ray. But, well, you know what? We have to go to these places and see for ourselves, though, at the end of the day. So who wants to sponsor our trip to Cat and Dog Island? We might as well go try and visit that Snake Island that James was talking about earlier, although we'll need some anti-venom. What do they call that? Anti-venom serum? Yeah, we'll need anti-venom serums. Lastly, I'll just read one more from Instagram. Adrian Lomax from Canada reached out to me, said, Jonesy, hello from Canada. Please come do a tour. If no one else shows up to your show, I will, I promise. You're my favorite daily podcast. Love your show. So shout out to Adrian and all my listeners up there in the north, in the lovely north of the border townland, north of the border townland. I'll be seeing you guys at some point. I'll get up there, I promise. But for now, I'm chilling down in lovely, lovely SoCal in the sun. This is where it makes me very happy. All right, I'm running on 20 minutes in this episode. You know I don't really like to go beyond that, so keep it brief for you. If you would like to reach out to me on Instagram as well, leave me a nice message. It's at FunnyJones, and my email is funnyjones@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to support the show, buy me a coffee, join the Patreon. You can go to weirdafnews.com, and there you can click on those things on the front page. Anyways, thanks for spending some time with me, and hope you have a good day.